Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is the first 30K tutorial. I have just recently hit the 30,000 subscriber milestone on my YouTube subscribers. And like last time when I hit 20K, I've decided that I'm going to do a whole bunch of sound design requests. Yay! This is the first one. This is a Joe Ford sound, and actually, I should go find out who requested this. That's the thing I should do. Probably should have done this, a minute ago. Herbert Canete. Herbert Canete. Anyway, the individual I will put in the title anyway, so it's fine. But anyway, I will in the description is the link to the sound design request Facebook post. If you're gonna make a request, make it there. I will ignore all requests found anywhere else. So this is the sound that I made. Now I'll teach you how to make that sound. This is a resampled sound. This is what it started out as. This is the thing that became next. And this is what it sounds like without the volume automation. I decided that I wanted to use volume automation. So that's that. Let's delve into what happened here. So this first guy, this is 2 unison with some phase engaged. Not a lot going on. I put it onto multiple or divider 4, so it just at the proper bass range. The harmonic unison pitch has been messed around like so. This creates a nice sort of squelchy sound. If you distort it, which I did, I put a little bit of the dry mix in here. This is what this does when you bring it up top. 50% here means 50% half original mix and half distorted mix. That's what I did there. Now I have the phaser setting on the filter. What this does is it creates this sort of it's basically mimics a phaser. That might have been a familiar sound just then. Anyway, I automated the width and the frequency. I have engaged keyboard tracking so that it follows the notes. This is being automated by these 2 clips here. I also turned on a little bit of harmonic protection so that the bass notes will continue to be bass notes. You can kind of see how you can still see them even though the phasers being like passing in between. Then I distorted it with the wave shaper. Now I have asymmetrical distortion engaged. Now what this means is that the wave shaper gets split up into 2 halves. You get from this point to this point center, and then from the center point to this point. And these indicate the wave shaping for each polarity of the waveform. So for the positive and the negative section of one period of the waveform. So this means that I'm applying different distortion on either side of the polarity. This adds particularly interesting coloration to the sound. And then I recorded it. And then I put it into a Hummer to be resampled. Now, there were reasons why I did what I did because I was trying to do something else in order to get a sort of Joe Fordy sound. This is sort of like, the target for this, by the way, is Joe Ford Mission. I didn't quite get there, but the sound is interesting, so I decided to use it. Why not? Why not do that? So what I basically wanted to do is I wanted to turn off scale, sharpness, and speed, and also smoothing, and then use time as a manual time scrubber. And I still did that in sort of an interesting way. I took the MIDI from the original bass that I made, and I actually am playing the MIDI on the resampled bass. But then I'm also following it with the time, but not quite. It's not actually, the time isn't following the original progression, but the original MIDI is still there. I am also controlling the phaser here, just the phaser width. I have turned the phaser on, and I also made this custom shape. I right-click this and make custom. That's what I did. I just made a shape. I didn't really know what I'm doing. I engaged harmonic protection a little bit. I distorted it with the hill setting, which The distortion settings in Harmor are very closely related to the Wave Shaper. In fact, some of them are actually Wave Shaper presets. You get a little bit more control over what you can do with the distortion, because the asymmetry is actually mono and then also stereo. So I've engaged a little bit of stereo asymmetry, although I don't really know why I did that, because I resampled it in mono. But I did that, and that sort of has a sort of thinning effect. I also engage a little bit of compression over here. And that was a lot of fun. Then I recorded that, and then dropped it into this guy. I'll turn out the volume automation once more. So this is a more regular sort of resampling here. I got two voices, some phase, some panning, a little bit of prism engaged, but I turned the sharpness way down. Normally I have the sharpness up as high as I can go before the watery sort of thing sets in. But this time I went all the way down, like almost all the way down. And I turned on the format mix. And then I went into image format mutation, and I dragged a whole bunch down. Which has vague coloration to the sound, and it's kind of interesting. I distorted it with log, I compressed it, and then in its thing, and then I automated the pre-effects. Let's turn that back on. Now, when you notice how in the pre-effects, it's actually 50% is the regular. So what I did in the automation is I went in here and turned the max down to 50%, so that the automation will span the whole automation clip, but it'll only move between 0 and 50% of the original parameter. I'm automating also the stereo width of the unison, which is what this is. And yeah, and then I did more distortion with the Wave Shaper. This is a very slight asymmetrical distortion. EQ'd it, and then compressed it. Now this compression is a bit weird. You can see here that there's like this mid section and a lot of highs and a lot of lows. This mid section is targeted. This is kind of like that de-essing I was talking about on I forget what tutorial. Oh yeah, it was the how to base 72, 71, whatever the last how to base was. That's what I was talking about. Except this one isn't being automated. It's staying where it is. And I compressed it semi, roughly. I elected to keep actual distortion on the limiting, or actual compression on the limiter, on the limiting of the main master, as opposed to using soft saturation like I do sometimes. Yeah, so that didn't really result in the Joe 40 like exactly, and I know he uses massive, and he uses it. Not that it's saying much, but he uses it to much more greater effect than I do. I don't use massive at all. Yeah. So yeah, these sound design requests are taking place on Facebook. Again, there's a post in the link of this video, in the description of this video. There's a link for this post that I'm talking about. If you want to make any requests, make them there. I will ignore them anywhere else. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.